My name is Cato, and I love Jross-tv.
What's up, y'all? This your boy Jross, 10 million strong, coming to you in St. Louis at the Blanche 2 Hill Performing Arts Center with Marcus Miller, David Sanborn. Say his name.
Cato. And Federico Pena. Yeah. I was like, whose name?
Yeah.
My name?
They throwing down.
Name? Federico Pena.
But we got my boy Lewis, y'all. And for those who know about Lewis, y'all know he is an excellent musician. His musicality is so far out there, man. It allows him to do what he do with all type of musicians in every genre. But in order for him to get to where he is now, we want to find out how did he start. So take us back, Lewis. You know what brought you into the music world.
Well, I started playing drums when I was 2 years old in my church. My mom plays organ and piano, and she had me playing and singing in church since I was 2 years old. You know, from there, I just always played in church. We lived in D.C. for a while. Well, we lived in Ohio when I started playing, and we lived in D.C. for a while. Then I mostly grew up in North Carolina, and then I started playing bass and guitar when I was about 8. And I didn't really play that in church so much, actually, because my mom grew up Kojic, and they play real heavy bass in the left hand, you know?
Yeah.
So I realized, Mom, you're stepping on my toes. I'm trying to play bass. She's like, I can't play no other way. So, you know, but I continued to play like on my own.
Now, did you start off on bass or drums or guitar? I know you play every instrument.
Drums was first. I started drums when I was 2, and I started playing in my church a little before I turned 3. And then bass and guitar kind of around the same time. I started actually playing bass on a guitar, on a little small. My dad, I think, it picked up from a yard sale or something.
Yeah.
And it just had it didn't have all the strings on it, but I was playing like bass lines on that and then chords and stuff. So bass and guitar around the same time.
Yeah, well, you out traveling the world and everything. What can you tell young guys musicians, well, girls too, for that matter, because the ladies starting to put it down on bass as well. So what kind of advice can you give them, saying starting off in church and getting their theory down? And do you recommend people go to school?
Man, I think, you know, I think it's important to keep learning. It's important to always be growing and always be learning. And you know, that, and being as everybody, you know, people learn differently. Learning curve different. Some people are good students. Some people learn more by, you know, hands-on.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, my advice for that is that, you know, whatever works for you. If you have an opportunity to go to a place like Berkeley or like a music school, that's where, you know, you can link up with some people that, you know, that inspire you, that move you, or that do what you have a knowledge and understanding about what you want to do, then, you know, by all means, if that's the medium that works for you, then absolutely. And Berkeley is a great place to do that. There's some amazing faculty and facilities, state-of-the-art recording studios.
Yeah.
Like, you can really, like, you know, if you get the scholarship or if you have the money, it's definitely worth it. And as far as you were saying, theory as well too, like coming out of church. For myself, I started. There's a local university, Pfeiffer University in Meisenheimer, North Carolina. Like small town, you drive through it and you miss it. College is like the whole town, you know. But
It's called Meisenheimer.
It's Pfeiffer University. But there was a director named Tom Smith who was there at the time. I don't know why he was there. He's world-class trombonist, Fulbright scholar, and the whole nine. But he happened to be teaching there at the time, and I was playing tuba in the wind ensemble. I was in high school at the time, but he would let me come and play tuba and euphonium and trombone with the wind ensemble. And so they had a jazz band too, and after a couple of years, like my junior year in high school, he let me come and play some bass and drums with the jazz band. And that was when I started learning, like, you know, like as far as jazz goes, like, you know, how, like, reading over chord changes and charts and reading, you know, big band charts was at the time. It's definitely, I mean, nowadays it's hard to say because, you know, if you if you can play, is, you know, your ears will take you a long way. It just, I think it depends on what you want to have available to you. You know, if you want to be a cat that can go in the studio and, you know, just read a chart down, no rehearsals, and, you know, and be good and be comfortable, it's definitely a value to be able to read music and understand harmony. The biggest thing now is just, you know, it used to be, I think, where to be a working musician, you had to, that was like the bar. But now I think it's more like, at least from my perspective, it seems like, I just know for myself, like, very rarely, like, does me getting a gig depend on whether or not I can read music if I get the gig. But I do know that when I come in on gigs where there's charts, you know, it saves me a lot of time, and it allows me to be a lot more comfortable being that I do, because, you know, you show up and, you know, you already know what's going on just by reading what's on the page. And, you know, from myself, the way my personality is, I feel a lot more comfortable, you know, walking into a situation where I can look at the chart and be like, okay, it's AABA, all right, cool, you know, or 12-bar form, whatever, like, you know, the dynamics and everything is written in, everything's there for you if it's a decent chart. So then I can focus my energy on being myself, you know, being musical, offering of myself to the music, you know, instead of like trying to having to utilize all my focus and energy on finding out what's going on, you know.
Yeah. But what about like the sacrifices that you've made in order to get to where you are now? As far as like, did you miss playing baseball and basketball and you know, running the streets with your friends and all that?
Well, you know, interestingly enough, where my upbringing, my mother was, well, I said is a very strong spiritual Christian. So she had us very sheltered. I mean, what we would call sheltered, I guess. You know, we weren't allowed to really not really spend the night at friends' houses so much, or, you know, definitely weren't allowed to like listen to outside music. Like, you know, after we took the bus to school, bus came back home, and, you know, that was that. You know, we didn't really sneak out anywhere because, you know, it's such a small town, everybody knows everybody, so we were too afraid of, you know, the wrath. So I didn't really, you know, I don't think I missed out any of that because of music, but I would say as a result of that, I think I had a lot more time on my hands, and I ended up, you know, I grew up playing just whatever was needed in the band. Like, I enjoyed like learning instruments. I wish I had more time to keep them all up. But growing up, you know, I mostly was playing as a tuba player. I started on trombone as my brass instrument when I was in like 6th grade, and then you know, then went to tuba from there. Spent some time on trumpet, spent some time with French horn. Just you know, a lot of different instruments growing up, and I was able to. I think I just had a lot more time available to spend being disciplined because I was in the house.
Yeah.
I wasn't allowed to not be, you know.
Yeah. Y'all, that's Louis Cato. We in St. Louis at the Two Hill, y'all. He hitting drums with Marcus Miller tonight. And we just rolling up a little small interview for y'all. We 10 million on.